Today's world, if you aren't on the far left, you're seen as a Nazi.
I would like to thank all people supporting this channel and welcome all new subscribers. This article I read a few days ago speaks to the mentality of the authoritarian left, the people that now condone violence if they don't like the way you think and now label anyone with wrong think as Nazis.
In today's world, if you aren't far left, you're seen as Nazi.
Oh yes, we are all well aware of this, but please tell us more.
When an academic event was axed by a Canadian university after pressure from left-wing activists who believed it was giving a platform to fascists, one of the sponsors RT spoke to says the label Nazi is being applied to anyone the far left don't like. The panel discussion called "The Stifling of Free Speech on University Campuses" was scheduled to take place on August 22 in the Ryerson University of Toronto, Canada. The event was expected to host a number of speakers, namely Professors Dr. Jordan Peterson, Dr. Gad Saad, psychologist Dr. Oren Amite, and investigative journalist Faith Goldie, known for controversial views on gender theory, Islam and other issues. A Facebook page, dubbed "No Fascists in Our City," was established by left-wing activists, calling for a mass protest against the panel. "We believe that transphobia, Islamophobia, and intolerance in all its forms are abhorrent, and refuse to be complicit bystanders in it," the Facebook page reads.
One can't help notice the name of the canceled event, "The Stifling of Free Speech on University Campuses." It is sadly almost as if it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. I kind of get it. There are plenty of ideas that I'm not too interested in or find offensive. I either ignore them or protest. What the hell? And you know, it's really self-interest that I have not wanting to see ideas shut down, because those that I believe in one day may end up being the ideas that are wrong. Since I identify way more on the left than anything else, I'd hate to see the values that I believe in being shut down just because someone disagrees with them. Wanting freedom and equality for every single person on the planet is something most of us embrace. But you have to imagine that somewhere, sometime, maybe these will be considered by someone as hate speech. All this noise about fascism being thrown around. You would think these people would understand history, because in a totalitarian state, the first thing that goes out the poop chute is free expression and ideas that are deemed harmful or dangerous, to those in power, that is.
While the university initially approved the event, it was abruptly cancelled on August 16, after being apparently hit by the fallout of the Charlottesville violence in the United States. The clashes and car rampage in Charlottesville left one person dead and dozens injured. The safety of our community is a top priority. In light of recent events, Ryerson has made the decision to cancel the August 22 event. After a thorough security review, the university has concluded that Ryerson is not equipped to provide the necessary level of public safety for the event to go forward. The university's statement email to the National Post newspaper reads, citing the recent events as a reason to cancel the panel. While the views of the speakers might have been deemed controversial by some, they're quite opposite to being fascist, psychologist and co-sponsor of the event Oren Amite told RT.
I'm sorry, but I do really believe that controversial speech on campus is what we should expect. Imagine, if you will, a day when campus life is controlled and monitored by the elite thought police. Every word is monitored, and any idea that falls outside of this new orthodoxy, the true way, is cleansed. We want Big Brother to tell us how to think, how to behave, and how to live. Of course, with rampant social justice on steroids, Big Brother is banned and replaced by Big Sister. The Campus Thought Patrol will interrogate students at random to ensure they are not thinking things they are not allowed to think. You will become like us.
Gad Saad had spoken many times that he's a Lebanese Jew. "Half of my family, if not more, were wiped out by the Nazis in the World War II, and Dr. Peterson has spoken explicitly against fascism, Hitler, Nazism," Oren Amite told RT, adding that the speakers did not quite fit what the protesters would like us to be. Lebanese Jewish professor who fights for freedom of speech equals Nazi, anti-Semite, and white supremacist. It is truly impossible to fathom. I would hope that when the temperatures have come down a bit, and they would actually speak to myself and other panel members, they would realize that we're not promoting hatred, we're not promoting fascism, bigotry or anything of the sort. We're actually speaking the exact opposite of these concepts, he added. No, no, no. The enemies of truth who shut us down referred to us as Nazis, anti-Semites, and white supremacists.
My dear friends, this is what it has come to. The new Orwellian state of mind that has infected university from coast to coast in North America, the most free geographical region in the world. The reason that organizations like the ACLU attempt to protect speech, even when it is contemptible, is to protect your speech. In their own words, the ACLU works tirelessly in courts, legislatures, and communities to defend and preserve the Constitution's promise of liberty for everyone in our country, because one day you might have the ideas that are verboten.
The event was aimed at promoting the right way to have these kinds of discussions and exchanging opinions, while labeling anything you don't like Nazi is itself an example of ignorance, simple-mindedness, hatred and bigotry, Amete said. With identity politics, people have become so simplistic that if you don't fit in this category that they like, if you're not with them then you're automatically the enemy, Amete told RT. They don't care what kind of labels they throw at you, because they have been getting away with it for so many years, which is why we wanted to have this panel. Look at the truth behind the labels, that's what we were trying to promote. The people associating themselves with the far left wing have been demonstrating weak-mindedness for decades, according to Amete, who believes that the situation is getting worse as such people have recently demonstrated, in the US and worldwide, the complete inability to actually hold a dialogue in any civil fashion. That's definitely indoctrination. It's simple-mindedness, it's weak-mindedness. It's a way of just dividing the world into us versus them. And this has been going on for the past several decades, much worse than it has been before, Amete stressed. In today's world, if you aren't the far left, you're seen as a Nazi.
Which is very disappointing. Being someone who is interested in history and having studied the rise of Nazis in Germany, ironically, it is easy to see that the left is using similar tactics. This demonizing, this otherizing of people that they disagree with. When you paint people as subhuman, it is easy to dispose of them. This new trend of carelessly labeling people as fascists, Nazis, racists, misogynists, and the more recent invented mental illness, Islamophobia, sets a dangerous precedent. Being thoughtful and responsible for your own words and actions is essential to civilized society. Spewing out thoughtless epithets to describe people that have differing opinions than you not only diminishes the meaning of these words, but creates an atmosphere of the boy who cried wolf. I quote here some great thinkers of the Enlightenment that may be used as a guide in these times. Those who expect to reap the blessings of freedom must, like men, undergo the fatigues of supporting it. Thomas Paine. True and false are attributes of speech, not things, and where speech is not, there is neither truth nor falsehood. Thomas Hobbes. The end of law is not to abolish or restrain, but to preserve and enlarge freedom. John Locke. My dear friends on the left, if you, on your Facebook page or anywhere else in your life, have difficulties with the freedoms that some on the religious right want to repeal, if you believe that wanting to remove a woman's right to choose her own reproductive destiny, or taking away the right to marry the person you love, or think some are attempting to revoke your right to vote in elections, removing your voice in a precious democracy, then you may very well understand the need to protect others' rights of conscience. Noam Chomsky said, Goebbels was in favor of free speech for views he liked. So was Stalin. If you're really in favor of free speech, then you're in favor of freedom of speech for precisely the views you despise. Otherwise, you're not in favor of free speech. I think it's obvious what Chomsky means here, but I think I may have to spell it out for the regressive left. It is easy to protect the views you agree with, but your very freedoms rest on society allowing all ideas because, who gets to decide? Chomsky notes two well-known historical figures who thought they could decide for you.
The prospects of violence have forced one Canadian university to cancel a discussion on stifling free speech. That's after a backlash from left-wing activists on social media. They accused the event of giving a platform to, quote, fascists and threatened to disrupt it with a massive rally. Ryerson University shut down the discussion, citing safety concerns. So, who are the speakers who caused such outrage among the left activists? Well, one of them is Professor Jordan Peterson, who stoked controversy with a war against political correctness, especially when it comes to gender-neutral titles. Another was behavioral scientist Gad Sayad, who's against so-called thought police on campuses.
It was quite extraordinary that the people who were organizing this protest, who were trying to disrupt the event, were accusing the speakers, myself included, of being fascists, Nazis, anti-Semites. What kind of person could actually accuse a person with my background of being a Nazi and an anti-Semite? But in any case, Ryerson University has canceled the event on the stifling of freedom of speech on campuses. I'm not sure that I need to say anything else.
Two other speakers were a conservative journalist as well as psychologist Oren Armite. He told us that opponents are simply using labels instead of having a productive discussion.
We're not promoting hatred, we're not promoting fascism, bigotry, or anything of the sort. Look at the truth behind the labels is what we're trying to promote. So this was about trying to compel people to be able to speak up, to be able to have, again, honest discussion, civil discourse with people maybe you disagree with. We're trying to promote the right way to have these kinds of discussions because it's not working the way it's been going for the last few years. It's identity politics, people have become so simplistic that if you don't fit into this category that they like, if you're not with them, then you're automatically the enemy. Today's world, if you aren't on the far left, you're seen as a Nazi.
For me, it is intellectual and moral laziness to choose to become the finger pointer rather than someone who engages in vigorous debate. Yes, I realize you have decided that you are in the right and you get to decide who is in the wrong. That isn't lazy, that's just stubborn, and nobody wins that game. Goodbye.